Bezel and welcome to another Casio Watches showcase video. Today we're going to look at the Casio MDV-106, or as it's better known, the Casio Duro. Now as always, if you haven't done so already, please head over to our Facebook group Casio Watches and come and join in on the action, sharing your collections and just showing off pics of Casios and general Casio discussion. Now, at this point in my showcase videos, I normally like to give you a little fact about the watch that I'm showcasing. Is it in any films? Do any celebrities wear it? So today, a couple of facts about the Duro. First and foremost, the name Duro in Spanish and Italian means hard and tough. And again, as we'll see a little bit later on when I talk more about the features of this watch, this is a tough watch. It's going to stand up to a beating. It's going to get scuffed, it's going to get marked, but it's still going to keep working. So Duro means tough, hard, and that's exactly what this watch is. Secondly, we're not talking about a film star today or a movie where this watch is featured as such. We're going to go one better than that, and that is this watch is the watch of choice by none other than Bill Gates, one of the richest men in the world, and he chooses to put aside the Rolex, the Omega, tags, whatever, it doesn't matter, and he likes to be seen wearing a Casio Duro. So if you Google Bill Gates Duro, you'll see him standing there with his scruffy jumper on and a Duro on his wrist. Now, this watch, and I'll be honest with you, all of my Casios besides this watch are digitals, and I didn't actually even know about this watch existing until a couple of months ago when somebody posted a picture of it on Casio Watches. And I was like, hang on a minute, what's that all about? I've never seen this before. So I decided to ask for a bit more information. Then I was pointed in the direction of the Casio Duro group on Facebook. And again, if you aren't a member of that group, then go and check out the Casio Duro group over on Facebook. They're an affiliated group with Casio Watches. Always lots of interesting pictures on there of Duros, whether it's just basic photography or people showing off their modded Duros, so go and check that group out. So as I said, didn't even know this watch existed until about 2 and a bit months ago. Once I found out about it, I was like, okay, how much does this cost and where can I get one? Now the good news, this watch is classed as a budget diver watch. It is brand new, £50. You can find this on the internet for £50 brand new, and I'll give you the name of a website that you can use to order one of these in a moment or two. However, I decided that I wanted to get my hands on one as quickly as possible. I wasn't sure if I'd even like it because again I always have digital watches on, so I actually bought mine second hand from the Duro group on Facebook. It arrived and I loved it as soon as I got it out the box and put it on my wrist. So in terms of ordering this watch, if you want a brand new one, the best place to head over to is greatwatches.co.uk, and I'll put that link in the description later on. Now, greatwatches.co.uk, they stock all 3 of the current Duro colours. We've got the original black bezel with black dial. They also have the blue version, the all blue version, and they have a black and gold version. There is another variant with a white face, but that's not in stock at the moment. I believe that is one of the very early variants of the Duro. But if you head over to greatwatches.co.uk, despite the .co.uk bit, it's actually going to be shipped from America. I believe it's Las Vegas, but the guy who runs this site and stocks the watches, he's a member of the Duro group on Facebook and a member of our Casio Watches group on Facebook. Highly reliable. I know that shipping times might be extended slightly due to everything that's going on in the world at the moment, but again, head over to that website or head over to the Duro group, ask the questions in there and people can point you in the right direction. This black Duro is going to cost you pretty much £50, and that's including shipping. If you want the blue version or the black and gold version, you'll pay about £53, so hardly any difference at all. And again, as you can see here, I'm not touching the watch, I'm just leaving it as it is with some natural light coming through the window and the lights on in the room, and you can see how incredible this watch looks, and it's a £50 watch. I think I actually paid about 28 or 30 for mine. So there we go. Okay, now in terms of the features that this watch has packed into it for £50, again, if you look on eBay, some people are trying to ask pretty stupid prices for the same watch that you can pick up brand new for £50. Anyway, let's take a little look in some more detail at this watch. Now, the Duro has a Japanese quartz movement in it, and right down here, you can see, if you've got really good eyesight, it actually reminds you, in case you forget, that this watch has a Japanese movement in it. Tiny little font hidden at the 6th position on the dial on the face there. Okay, so next thing to point out, and the hour hand is just covering it slightly, but there's actually the classic marlin symbol behind here. And later on, when I take the watch off this stand to put it on my wrist, there's also on the case back an engraved marlin symbol on there as well, and that's a fantastic finish on the back of the case, which I'll show you later on. So this marlin symbol, and again, unfortunately it's covered here at the time of shooting this video, but this shows that the watch is 200 meters water resistant. Now, normally Casios have, let's say, 50 meters or 100 meters of water resistance, but the marlin symbol there shows that anybody who owns this watch, it's a reminder that this is a 200 meter water resistant watch. It is a dive watch. People will be using this to dive, go snorkeling, or just going swimming in the pool in general, but I don't think many people are going to go beyond 200 meters with it. So to the normal depths that people will go wearing this watch, it is more than up to the task of keeping the water out. So the marlin there for the 200 meters water resistance. Now, one of the best features of this watch for a £50 watch, I think, is this beautiful sunburst dial that it has. I mean, look at this, the light's catching it perfectly here. If I just move it around slightly, you can see, okay, look at that beautiful finish on the dial there, and the light catches it and throws off all these beautiful reflections and sunburst lines coming from it. So a really, really great finish for a watch that costs what it does. Again, if you want the blue version will have a sunburst dial, and the black and gold version will have one of those too. So it's a really great finish, and it really makes this Casio stand out when you're wearing it on your wrist. I usually wear for work a digital Casio, but since I've bought this, I wear this pretty much every day at work, and some people have commented on it that it looks more expensive than it actually is when I tell them how much this watch cost and how much I paid for it. So as we move on to some more features of this watch, the bezel itself, as we look at this, so this has got a unidirectional bezel, which means it only moves in one direction. The reason it only moves in one direction is as a safety feature. If you're actually using this as a dive watch, which some people will be, you don't want the bezel moving in different directions or being knocked quite easily, especially if you're down diving and you're using it as an actual timer to know when your oxygen is going to run out. So it's a unidirectional bezel, and a full movement all the way around the watch face is actually 120 clicks. And when I put it on my wrist later on, I'll move the bezel around a little bit and you'll hear how it really ratchets into place. It's a brilliant bezel, I think, for the money. Obviously, if you're going to be paying several £100 or several £1,000 for a watch, you're going to have a better quality bezel. But for £50 or so, I think this is a really good quality bezel, and you can really feel it as it moves around and ratchets into each of those 120 clicks around the unidirectional bezel. Okay, now something else that this watch has is a mineral crystal lens. So one of the downsides of that is it will scratch. However, if you've got some polywatch or anything like that, you can get the scratches out. I've worn it for a few months now at work. I haven't scratched it up, but again, it's a good finish. It's gonna scratch at some point if you're wearing it year in, year out. But again, for the price point of this watch, I think expecting anything more than this sort of mineral lens on it is asking for a bit too much. But it does the job, and I haven't scuffed it up. So again, I'm hoping that will stay that way for the foreseeable future. And moving on to the case itself now. I'm going to get this off the stand now, move this out of the way a minute. As you can see, got a beautiful stainless steel case. You can see on the sides there, It's got brushed finish on the top, and then around the sides it's got a really beautiful shine to it. So brushed on the top and not on the sides. And if I flip this round, you can see the same here. Okay, really good quality for the price point of this watch, and it actually weighs around about 92 grams, so it's got some real good weight to it when it's on your wrist and when you're holding it in your hands. Okay, it feels, I think, more expensive than it is. Now I just want to mention the strap. This strap that I've got on the Duro here, this isn't this stock strap. When I bought this watch, which was a second-hand watch, remember, it didn't have the original strap either. The original strap is one of your typical resin, rubbery resin Casio straps. A lot of people like to keep theirs on it, but the Duro is a really popular watch of choice to be put onto a NATO strap or a Zulu strap. And as you can see here, I've got mine on this NATO strap. For those that aren't sure what the difference is between a NATO strap and a Zulu strap is pretty much just one piece of material that runs through, I'm going to take off this pad now, that runs through the spring pins like so. Okay, a Zulu strap. Whereas a NATO strap, which this actually is, there's usually a second piece of material that will loop around here, buckle on to the end and draw itself up. So actually if I had the regular version of this strap on, it would have another piece of material coming over here. That's in case one of the springs pops out, the watch is still held in place. Trouble is with some NATO straps, they actually make the watch sit a little bit higher up on your wrist. And that's what happened with this strap, and I didn't like it. So what I did was I used a pair of scissors to cut the extra bit of the strap off, used a naked flame to singe the end so that it didn't fray, and now I've turned the NATO strap into a Zulu strap, so to speak, one piece of material that runs all the way through. And again, for those of you that like your James Bond films, you might have recognised this watch as looking a little bit similar to a Rolex Submariner, but obviously a vast price difference. It's very popular in the Duro community for owners to put a Bond style NATO strap on, and you've got a choice really. You've got the Sean Connery Bond, which is this sort of strap here with the black, the olive green and the red, or you've got the Daniel Craig version of the Submariner on his NATO strap, which was the black and grey version, a more understated colour. I've gone for this one, as you can see here, which is the black, olive green and red band. Now I'm just going to flip this over and I'm going to pop this strap out quickly if I can, because I really want to show you the back of the case. Okay, there we go, look at that. There's that Marlin logo on the back of the case. Absolutely stunning there. Again, a £50 watch. Lots of features of this watch make you think it's worth a lot more than that. So a lovely case back. Okay, pop it in, ready to put it on the wrist. Now, I've said before in some of my other videos that my wrists are about 6 3/4 inches. So if I put this on, you'll see how it looks on a wrist my size. It's actually quite a sizable watch. It's not a small watch by any means. When it's on your wrist, people will notice it. However, if you work somewhere where you wear a shirt, a long sleeve shirt each day, the shirt will slide over this no problems because it's not too thick. And even if you put on a regular NATO strap, for example, that does make it slightly thicker, it's still going to get a shirt over it without any issues whatsoever. So I'm going to pop it on. A bit tricky to put this on from the angle I'm trying to do it. Lots of different ways that you can wear NATO straps and Zulu straps. So I'm going to quickly put it on the wrist, tuck that under, and there we go. So as you can see, again, it's hard to twist my wrist round at this in this camera angle, but it's on my 6 3/4 inch wrist there. I think it's a really good fit. There we go. I only wear it for work really, but it's a watch that can be used for lots of different activities, and again because it is so tough and durable, it will take a beating. Some people like their watches to be a bit scuffed up, gives them a bit more character, but again, for a watch that's around £50 or so, it's not going to be the end of the world if you knock it about. I'm going to take it back off the wrist just so I can show you the bezel that I mentioned earlier. This unidirectional bezel, which I actually think is really good quality, really well made, really well put together. One thing I really like about it is if you look around the bezel here, you can see all these notches. It allows you to get a really good grip on the bezel, even if you've got wet hands. So again, if you do intend to swim or dive when you're wearing this watch, you haven't got to worry about your hands slipping off it when you're trying to turn it. So can you hear that? It makes a really clear sound as it clicks around. Those 120 clicks into place, and I don't think you can fault a movement like that for the price point of this watch. I'm just going to leave it there for now. Okay, now one thing I do have to mention is I watched a video recently where somebody was reviewing this watch, the Duro, and they were quite critical of it. And let's be honest, for the price point of this watch, I don't think you can expect £200, £500, £1,000 price watch features for that money. And when you look at it, it actually does look more expensive than it is. I've said that before, but the features that it does have, I think, are brilliant for the price point. So don't expect Rolex quality for a watch that is £50, but do expect quality that's more than what you've paid for it. I think that's a good way to put it. What you get for your money is very, very good value for your money, and that's what I think most people who own this watch will say. Again, because it does come in 3 different colours, as well as some more exclusive or rare, shall I say, colours with the white face that I mentioned earlier. There's a few different designs for people to have. An absolute abundance of straps that you can get for this watch. Lots of people like to put metal band on this watch, or a mesh band, rubber bands, you name it, you can pretty much fit it onto a Duro. It's a very versatile watch, and then it really changes the look and the feel of the watch depending on the strap that you've got on there. Okay, and the crown, okay, I'm not going to undo the crown now, but the crown is also, I think, very good quality. You've really got to get stuck in there to turn it. It's not going to start twisting on its own and pop out of place. It's going to keep itself in there. Again, not too difficult to turn. Got a good grip around the crown itself. I've heard some people saying on some review videos that they think the crown is a bit too small for the watch. Again, I think it's well proportioned. I don't really want a huge crown sticking out on a watch this size. And if we have a little look in more detail at the face there, again, you can see that sunburst pattern moving around as I move the watch from side to side. I really like how the second hand is red. It really stands out. It jumps out from everything else that's on the face of the watch. The loom on this watch, I think, again, is pretty good. I don't think I can show you so much now. I can't get it dark in here. I'm not going to turn the lights off. But the loom on this watch in particular, at the 12 o'clock marker and the hands, they're really strong. The dots that mark the numbers around the face, they're okay, they're not too bad at all, but the 12 o'clock point and the hands themselves, they really, really do glow brilliantly for the price of the watch. So again, I can't complain about the loom either. So to end, if you haven't done so already, jump onto the Casio Watches Facebook group, and now I've mentioned also the Duro Facebook group for the Casio Duro. If you have this watch, drop us a comment below, or in the Facebook groups if you come over and join us as one of our new members. Please subscribe to the channel, because I'll be adding some more videos in the coming weeks when I get new watches. And as always, especially at the moment, take care and stay safe, and hopefully I will see you all next time.